Hello my dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I've got another book talk video to share with you guys. And today we are talking about Horrorstör by Grady Hendrix. This is the third book that I have read by Grady, and I've enjoyed all of them. I've read The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, The Final Girl Support Group, and now this one. What I'll say about his books in general is that they're a lot of fun. They're kind of comedy horror. They're not too scary because you can't take it too seriously, but again, just a ton of fun. And this was definitely no exception. First of all, you've got the great layout. It's a uniquely shaped book. It's more of a square than a rectangle. And then the cover here looks like an IKEA catalog. And then when you go inside, like, it continues to look like that for a while. And then even throughout the book, there are like pages that are written up. Let me see if I can find one here pretty quick. That are written up like employee evaluations, things like that. So I really think the layout and design very interesting. So let's get into it. I'll definitely give you a warning before there's any spoilers, because normally what I do here is I give a general synopsis and then we go on to some spoilers. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to talk about this book without sounding like I'm completely insane, because it's a bit of a wild ride, but let's just get on into it. So this book takes place entirely over one day inside of an Orsk home furnishing store. It's kind of like a rip-off of IKEA. It's just a huge building with the path. You know when you go into IKEA, there's a path to kind of guide you through the store. It's like that. In this store, it's called the Bright and Shining Path. So we meet Amy right off the bat. She's getting to work. She needs money, but she hates her job. Not so much working for the company in general, but working at this particular location. She had recently transferred there for a change of scenery, but is in the process of requesting a transfer back to her original store. So when we meet her, at first she's trying to avoid her manager because she's worried he's gonna fire her, and she doesn't want to get fired until she can get that transfer back to the store where she likes to work. So the day goes on, we get to learn about the inner workings of Orsk, and at one point during the day, her manager finds her and another employee, Ruth Ann, and calls them to her office, or calls them to his office. And Amy's worried she's about to get fired, but then she's like, but wait, Ruth Ann's here too, and Ruth Ann's like one of the best employees. They're not gonna fire both of us. So she's not sure what's about to happen. As it turns out, Basil, the manager, is asking if the two of them can spend the night in the store with him, because weird things are happening in the night, and corporate's coming the next day, so he wants to make sure nothing weird happens at night, because there'll be no time to deal with it by the time corporate shows up. And like weird things are happening. Glass is being broken, couches are being just smeared with unspeakable substances, and he's like, listen, I want you two to spend the night here with me. We'll, you know, sort of patrol the building, see if someone's sneaking in, what's happening. Neither of them really want to do that, but then he offers to pay them in cash come morning, and it's like $200 he's offering them, and Amy's like, well, I need that money. So they both agree. So the nighttime comes. Now, this is a nice short little book. It's only about 240 pages, and the print is large and doesn't take up too much room on the page. So it's a quick read. So anyway, they end up spending the night. I guess here's what we'll say. Okay, if you don't want any spoilers, don't keep watching. Just know if you like weird, funny, there's some mild gross out bits. If that's up your alley, definitely check this out. But beat it now so I can tell them the spoilers. As the night wears on, Amy finds two other employees are there, but they're not there to vandalize or deface the property. They're there because they're ghost hunting and didn't know anyone else would be there that night. So now there's 5 of them there, and they start just trying to figure out what's going on. As time goes on, Amy discovers that the land where the store is built used to be like a prison. And it was a prison where people were treated very poorly. And I kind of like the juxtaposition between, like, it used to be a prison and now it's like this giant corporate store that kind of runs like a prison. So it's like, what's a prison is a prison. It's kind of the, you know, the thing they're going for there. And so she finds out that the prisoners were treated very badly. And as time goes on, we see that that's what's haunting this building. It's the ghost of the warden and the many, many prisoners who were just treated very badly. And yeah, as the book goes on, Amy is brutalized. Basil, Ruth Ann, eventually, she ends up just kind of being sucked into the whatever is haunting, you know, the energy of the house. By the end of it, Amy and Basil are the only 2 that get out. And Amy's horrified by this. You know, Ruth Ann is pretty well gone, and the 2 others, Trinity and Matt, the would-be ghost hunters, are in there too. And so at first, corporate's there, now come morning. What was really interesting was through the night, Amy tried to call the police, but the police kept having to call her back because they couldn't find the building. And they kept saying that the address she gave them didn't exist. And she was like, what in God's name? So morning comes and the police are finally there, and corporate's there now too as well, of course. And they're trying to pay off Basil and Amy, like, if you don't talk to the media, you know, we'll get you a nice cushy job in corporate. And they give them like an $8,000 and some dollar severance package. And Amy's like, absolutely not, you sickos. I don't want to work for you anymore. But Basil's kind of like, maybe, because he loved working at Orsk. So time passes a little bit. We see Amy's really struggling with trauma and finding it very difficult to get her life back on track after losing her 3 friends in such a horrific manner. And then at the end, we see that the old building, the Orsk, has been torn down, and being erected in its place is a kids' like a boxed kids' clothing and toy store. And eventually what Amy decides to do is go back, get a job there so she can be on the grounds and try to find her 3 friends. And that's kind of where it ends. But when she goes back there, she finds Basil works there too. Basil? Am I saying Basil? I guess it's Basil? I don't know. We'll just keep calling him Basil. Basil's there too, and so now she's like, oh, I thought you were gonna go, you know, continue kissing up to corporate. And he was like, in the end, I couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it. I've been here since they opened. And before that, I worked at a McDonald's. So then, yeah, you're just kind of left with the feeling that Basil and Amy are gonna continue trying to figure out what in the world happened there that night. I thought it was cute too, because at the end here, after the epilogue, it's like coupons for the baby store and then an ad for the baby store. So yeah, I kind of liked that it ended off on that sort of, like, the final line is there was no more time to waste. They had work to do to try to find their friends. I like that it ended sort of on that, I guess not cliffhanger, but like just, you know, they've got more work to do. So this is a bit of an older one of his. I think it's from 2014. So I don't think there's going to be a sequel to it, although it's definitely left open to one, but it doesn't really need one. I thought it ended pretty good. Doesn't really matter where her friends are. They're gone. They're gone. And if they're not gone, you probably won't want them back anyway, because they'll have been very, I don't know, changed by whatever they've been going through. Anyway, you guys, that is going to do it for me for today. I hope you enjoyed this book talk. If you did, give it a like, subscribe. Those things always help me out a lot. And I will see you again real soon. Bye.